Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this? We make things like this possible through the power of chemistry. We're the Kaiteki Company, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
Yanmar. Red. United. 世界への挑戦 Passion, Spirit. 次のプレミアムフィールドへ
Welcome to Tokyo Skytree. This is the grand panoramic view from 450 meters. Here you'll experience the unforgettable. Look, enjoy, be amazed, and be awestruck. That's what Tokyo Skytree is all about. Japan's latest landmark, Tokyo Skytree.
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Masako Tsuda.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from a studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are topics for today.
In Executive Insight, an interview with the head of a 200-year-old construction company.
In World Business Satellite, a new way of supporting a startup.
Also from World Business Satellite, human resources management in the nursing care industry.
So let's get started. First, we have a video report from Nikkei Online Edition. Well, Utsuda-san, what is it about?
Yes, today we have a report on a robot that runs on two legs while leaning forward, so take a look. So as you can see, the robot leans all the way forward and almost to the point of falling over and runs on two legs.
It's speeding up! Oh, it fell. Well, it's quite admirable.
Yes, it's a brave robot, and its legs are about 14 centimeters long, and it can run at a speed of 4.2 kilometers per hour, and the average adult walks at 4 kilometers per hour, so it's about the same.
Well, considering that the shortness of its leg, it's quite impressive how fast it can run. It is, isn't it? Oh dear.
Yes, and the reason it can run while leaning forward is because of the high-speed camera, and it captures 600 frames per second. This is the camera, and that data is used to control the posture of the robot.
We've researched the mechanism of running. Leaning forward is the best posture to run fast, so it falls quite often. Robots until now have been calibrated not to fall, but with this robot, we didn't put that data into our calculations. So if it leans too much, it'll fall. We see this as a way to determine what the limit is before it falls. Our hope is to realize the quickest movement, even if that means it's unstable.
So right now the camera is trained on the robot from the side, but in the future they hope to install a camera on the robot itself so that it can calculate its posture on its own.
Well, what's the ultimate objective of this robot?
Yes, it's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? They say their aim is to develop an industrial robot that can move rapidly.
Well, next up is Executive Insight. So who will we be hearing from today?
Yes, today we'll be showing you an interview with the head of a Japanese construction company. But before that, if you can take a look over here, this graph shows the number of people working in the industry, and it includes almost everyone involved in construction, from those at small enterprises to big corporations.
Right.
And as you can see, the peak was around 2000 when the labour force numbered over 600,000, but that's dropped to about 470,000 in recent recent years.
Right. But I've noticed that many areas in Tokyo are redeveloped due to the Olympics that's coming in 2020. I assume there are quite a lot of construction demand now.
Yes, you're right. And over the past several years, there has been a sharp rebound in demand, and some are related to the Olympics, but also in other regions as part of reconstruction efforts after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami.
Yes. So does that mean that many more workers are returning to construction?
Well, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case, and there is still a big shortage, as we can see in this graph over here. There's a big jump in shortage, and the labour pool hasn't kept up with the rapid rise in demand. And it's been said that the industry is suffering an unprecedented shortage of workers, and wages are being pushed up as a result.
Right.
And on top of that, the increase in demand is making construction materials more expensive, which is translating into higher construction costs, and that's putting pressure on many companies in the industry.
I see. And also, I agree whether the demand will continue after the Olympics in 2020.
That certainly is a big concern. So this time we visited Shimizu Corporation, which is one of the top 5 construction companies in Japan, and the company president Yoichi Miyamoto talked about his strategy to remain profitable amid the drastic changes in the industry. So take a look.
Executive Insight. Asakusa, Tokyo, a so-called temple town bustling with activity for more than 1,000 years. In recent times, it has also drawn numerous tourists from abroad. A major landmark of Asakusa is Kaminarimon, or Thunder Gate. Passing through it is a street lined with souvenir shops. And at the very end, the main hall of Senso Temple. This was constructed 6 decades ago. The exterior was repaired and repainted 5 years ago. The construction and past 2 repair projects of the hall were carried out by Shimizu Corporation. In an industry with 600,000 companies, Shimizu is among the top 5 groups called super general contractors, which boast long histories and massive scales. The Yoyogi National Stadium that served as the main venue for the Tokyo Olympics 50 years ago. And the rebuilding 5 years ago of the Kabuki-za Theater, where traditional Japanese kabuki performances are held. They are behind many structures considered on the cutting edge of the times. The company generates nearly $15 billion in annual revenue. How does this huge general contractor plan to expand into Asia? President Yoichi Miyamoto explains.
What's your view on the state of construction in Japan and the industry in general?
Just about a year ago, Tokyo won its bid to host the Olympics and Paralympics. That's become a big tailwind. Domestic demand has grown as a result and is quite robust.
With the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020 and expansion of reconstruction projects in areas devastated by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, the construction industry is experiencing a sharp increase in demand. But at the same time, finding workers is said to be a major issue facing the industry.
Unlike an industry where you make things in one place, we make things one by one in different places and different environments. Because of this, ensuring safety is quite difficult. People in so-called difficult, dirty and dangerous industries have dropped significantly. Creating a solid work environment, that's the biggest issue, and it's what we're working on. If we can create the impression that this line of work isn't that bad and more people are willing to take over, then it'll help ease the workload.
Shimizu, which has set out to create a better work environment. What kind of company is it?
A major characteristic of our firm is the long tradition built up since our founding. It's been 210 years. We set up in 1804. We were able to continue our business for 200 years because we constantly worked to earn the trust of customers. That's a big reason.
The founder started out as a carpenter. Carpenters spend months to complete a single project based on a relationship of trust with the customer. The founder himself was involved for many years in the renovation of the now World Heritage Site of Nikko Tosho Shrine and built up his reputation. This is a place that embodies his spirit. It's a plant where timber is processed. Various wood products, including shrine sanctuaries and furniture, are made here. Showing us around is the manager, Hayato Ide.
Blades are the most important in woodwork. To ensure that they're properly cared for, our employees sharpen the blades themselves.
We're shown a process in which square-shaped wood is processed into other forms. It's detailed work, but crucial in shaping products.
To make these products, the blades have to be sharpened. They're all in here, 800 in all.
As the blades are made based on the shape ordered, not a single one is the same.
This blade has become dull, so we'll ask them to sharpen it. There'll be sparks, so be careful.
The process of sharpening requires special skills, and they say nurturing different generations of staff ensures that the techniques are handed down without being lost. There's a big difference before and after sharpening. The wood processing is about to begin. The square-shaped wood is transformed in an instant. Two blades spin to shave the piece. The process is repeated to create the shape ordered by the customers.
How difficult is it to process wood?
Wood has different characteristics depending on where the tree grew. Trees grown on the southern and northern slope of a mountain have different characteristics, even if they're of the same type. Wood is alive. So, for example, if you use it upside down, it'll become warped or bent over the years. Our strength is being able to make things with an understanding of nature.
In an industry where there's often a separation of labor, the wood plant oversees multiple processes from design to maintenance. By getting requests directly from customers, they are able to deepen the relationship of trust.
Japanese people have benefited from concrete and steel, but there's still a yearning for the warmth of wood. I believe it's necessary to meet those needs as a company. So we want to continue running the wood plant. I think that's important. Without knowledge of wood, it'll be difficult for us to do wood construction.
The company is not only preserving traditional techniques, but also adopting cutting-edge technologies to expand in Japan and around the world.
Basically, we started expanding overseas to help Japanese companies build factories and offices abroad. But that business fluctuates. We felt it necessary to do work for locally invested companies. And that's why we've built a reputation in Asia. In particular, in Singapore, we've been there about 40 years now and do a lot of work for local firms. In that sense, we're at a point where we get steady business overseas.
The company has grown its international business by working more with local firms. One example is Terminal Number 3 of Changi International Airport in Singapore. They began construction after receiving an order from the government, which owns the facility. That helped it secure other contracts in the country.
What's your company's advantage in getting contracts overseas?
Our rivals overseas are local companies, as well as Chinese and South Korean firms. When competing with them, we promote the strengths of Japanese contractors. One of those is our technological capabilities. For example, there are various hazards that we face, such as tsunami, typhoons, and hurricanes and earthquakes, even mountain fires. We analyze the risk of various regions and the level of those risks. We have a system that allows our customers to get a comprehensive view of those risks. It's called a hazard map system.
This is where the company carries out cutting-edge research. It houses the system to evaluate hazard information that the president referred to. Explaining its functions is researcher Koji Naraoka.
This is an earthquake hazard map.
The system uses Google Earth to check hazard information in any location. The data covers earthquakes, cyclones, flooding, landslides, lightning strikes, and mountain fires. The system collects information on hazards published by various research institutes, allowing anyone to retrieve the necessary data quickly. Asia is said to account for 40% of natural disasters around the world. The aim is to identify threats from natural phenomena to strengthen their disaster management capabilities.
For example, if a site is forecast to be inundated in a flood, we propose appropriate countermeasures. Or if it's a region with frequent lightning strikes, we'll offer suggestions to deal with the issue.
By building a system that allows business to continue running even in the event of natural disasters, they are able to enhance the value of the structures they construct. In Indonesia, the hazard system was used in a project for a multi-purpose facility with the data reflected in the design.
Just competing on price alone is not good. That's not our company culture. Working as one with the customer is the culture we've nurtured over the past 200 years. We want to continue always listening to and helping customers, while thinking about what's best for them.
Another example of their use of innovative technology to meet the demands of a customer is the roof of the main hall of Senso Temple. Explaining the features is Osamu Wakayama, who was involved in the project.
We removed the 80,000 or so tiles and replaced them with titanium tiles.
Tiles are laid on roofs to protect structures from rain and wind. Typically, they're made from baked clay. So why did they decide to use titanium ones instead?
These are tiles used in the past. Each one weighs 8 kilograms. These are titanium tiles. They're 3/10 of a millimeter and quite thin.
The roof alone used to weigh 930 tons. By using titanium tiles, that was reduced to a fifth.
In an earthquake, if the roof is heavy, the structure will sway more. By making the roof lighter, it won't sway as much and is more earthquake resistant.
They say the design is another feature they worked on.
The surface of the titanium tiles is blasted with tiny particles to give it this color. This time, we used 3 colors to create the speckled look of real tiles.
To make them look similar to clay-baked tiles, the titanium tiles were purposely colored in different tones. They say as titanium doesn't degrade, the tiles can be used for an extended period of time, meaning lower maintenance costs. Constantly pursuing the latest technology and changing with the times. That flexibility may be the secret to the company's ability to stay standing over the centuries.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way? The Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
Az én álmaim autója, amit lerajzoltam, egy nagyon környezetvédő autó. Milyen jó lenne, ha sikerülne a megálmodott házamba költöznöm, ahol tudok kísérletezni és állatokat megfigyelni.
We do our jobs with sincerity and integrity to make a better living environment for the people and our society. Today's work, tomorrow's heritage. Shimizu Corporation.
Omron is a company like no other. It defines expectations because engineers are constantly working on something new. Machines that are attuned to the way people think and move. Therein lies technology that will one day help the future. We automate. Omron.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. Otsuda-san, what's the topic today?
Yes, this time we'll be looking at a recent phenomenon called crowdfunding. Have you heard of this term before?
Yes, I've heard that term in news recently. And crowdfunding meaning funding, getting funding from the crowd.
Exactly, that's what it means. And typically when starting a business, you can use your own capital or get a bank loan or rely on investors and venture capitalists. But in contrast, crowdfunding is a relatively new way in which you use social networking services to attract small-scale donations and investments from a wide range of people to start a business.
So you get startup capital from supporters you've never met before.
Yes, I agree. And we have a report on the latest crowdfunding initiatives in Japan, so take a look.
Chiyoda Ward, Tokyo. Akinori Takahagi set up a company last October. He shares an office with another firm.
We use the space here, around here, and over there.
His company has 6 members. They are developing a product called Moth Band. When worn on the wrist, it's a toy that emits various sounds with movement. The device is equipped with sensors that detect the action of the wrist, with the data sent to a smartphone application to generate corresponding sounds.
Whether you're playing a game on a computer, we wanted to create a toy that's more imaginative and enhances face-to-face communication using body movements.
Mr. Takahagi was confident about the concept, but faced a funding issue.
I've invested all my savings and have even lent money to the company. Any money I have, I put into the business. But I can't finance this by myself anymore.
He attempted to get bank loans and funding from venture capitalists, but has been repeatedly turned down. So he decided to try a service offered by a US-based firm called Kickstarter. The service allows people and companies to put ideas and products they want to commercialize on a website to solicit support. Viewers who are interested in buying what's offered promise to pay money. If the funding target is reached, the entrepreneur can collect money minus the fee paid to the service provider. The idea or product is then commercialized using the funds and delivered to people who provided the money. Among the various internet-based crowdfunding methods, this particular type is referred to as a pre-purchase scheme. Kickstarter is considered the leading player in this field. Mr. Takahagi began seeking investors on March 11th this year.
For our production, we need your help.
In just 2 days, they hit their target of $20,000. And over 30 days, they received commitments from 1,157 supporters for more than $78,000.
I was surprised and extremely happy, but I was more surprised than anything else.
Successfully securing the funds he needed, Mr. Takahagi was able to make the molds and cover initial investments towards mass production of several thousand units a month.
It's a wearable smart toy.
Mr. Takahagi, who raised funds through Kickstarter for his Moth Band, is on his way to a certain place. An event to give people who supported him on Kickstarter a chance to try out the Moth Bands before anyone else. It's a regular workday, but 65 of his investors have gathered. Mr. Takahagi demonstrates the product.
In this empty space, there's a whole drum set. Here, the sound is different. And up here, cymbals.
His supporters try out the Moth Band for the first time. The supporters play with the products with a childlike curiosity. But they have another objective for being here.
This is a type of controller, so I think there are lots of other possibilities. We hope to cooperate with them in our business.
Mr. Takahagi has made a bet on the possibilities of Moth Band. Through crowdfunding, he not only raised funds, but also found potential partners.
If I hadn't been given the opportunity to raise funds through crowdfunding, our product wouldn't exist. we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be making this product and putting it out in the world. In that sense, we're extremely grateful. There are times when I get really emotional thinking about it.
Crowdfunding directly links manufacturers and consumers. It may hold the seeds of the next hit product. Mitsui & Company.
For the glorious future, leading the world in service and technology, from Japan to the world. East Japan Railway Company.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
Well, let's move on to our next topic.
Yes, next we're going to look at the nursing care field. And Demi-san, what's your impression of this business?
Wow, from what I've heard, well, the work is really tough, and although the demand is very high, unfortunately, a lot of people end up quitting.
Yes, and I agree. That seems to be the general impression that people have. But actually, it could be a bit different. We have a graph over here that shows worker turnover in the nursing care field and other industries.
Yes.
And as you can see here, in 2012, the rate was 16.1% in nursing care, while it was 14.4% in other industries. So,
well, the gap doesn't seem to be as big as you'd expect.
Yes, exactly. And also, if you dig into the data, there's another interesting point, which is there seems to be a divergence in nursing care facilities with high turnover and those with low turnover, because data shows that some even lose more than 30% of their newly hired staff within a year.
But I guess it's not entirely accurate to say that the nursing care workers have a tendency to quit their job. But why are there such difference between facilities?
Yes, well, the answer seems to be in how workers are kept motivated and able to achieve satisfaction in what they're doing. So we're going to take a look at some companies that have succeeded in implementing effective human resources management strategies. So take a look.
Tokai, Aichi Prefecture. Construction is underway at Nihon Fukushi University. Next April, a new department is scheduled to open. An explanatory meeting held in late August attracted a large number of high school students. But
we will be setting up a new nursing department, but
the university will open a nursing care department. About 150 potential applicants arrived, 3 times more than what the school had expected. This mother is currently working as a care worker and recommended her daughter become a nurse instead.
At times, I feel there are limits to being a care worker. When you hear that there aren't enough care workers, you want to help out. But I don't really want to be a care worker.
There's actually a big divergence now in the recruitment of care workers and nurses. During the past 2 decades, the number of nurse training universities has increased more than 20-fold. And according to some forecasts, an oversupply of nurses is expected by 2025. In contrast, there are only 61 universities specializing in social welfare, less than a third of the number of nurse training universities. At Nihon Fukushi University, the social welfare department is struggling to fill classes.
We go out and tell people about the attractions of nursing care work, but that alone isn't enough to reverse the trend.
Why is there such a big difference between these two fields?
20 or 30 years ago, being a nurse wasn't that popular an occupation. But a big effort was made after that, and the perception has changed significantly.
One reason behind the difference in popularity between nursing and nursing care is said to be political influence. Nurses are backed up by industry organizations that constantly negotiate for better working conditions, which have steadily improved. But in terms of wages, it's said that the gap between the two professions isn't as big as commonly thought. According to one survey, the annual salary for a nurse and a nursing care worker who've stayed at a single facility for 15 years is about the same, at around $42,000. In Aikawamachi, Kanagawa Prefecture, one facility is working to overturn that negative image. Takuya Baba heads the Management Strategy Office. What are they doing to accomplish that mission? Mr. Baba points to a T-shirt that's part of the uniform here. He says they started with the clothes that workers wear.
Many people say our uniform is cute, that the logo is cute.
In fact, Mr. Baba used to be a top salesman at Italian fashion brand Giorgio Armani. 4 years ago, he started working at a care facility run by his parents to transform the image of the industry.
Senior citizens' homes weren't seen as very open. I felt we had to gradually pry open the doors.
About 100 people work here. One of those is 19-year-old Tetsuya Kataoka. He too didn't have a good impression of the nursing care field.
My only impression was that it was dirty work, that you had to clean up after people.
After graduating high school, Mr. Kataoka began working at a certain facility, but with conditions much worse than he originally imagined, he quit after a month. In contrast, this facility has a performance-based wage system, with managerial-level employees earning an annual salary of $60,000 or more. In the morning, he mainly helps residents take baths. He talks with them as he does this.
He's very conscientious and works hard.
What does Mr. Kataoka think of nursing care work now?
It's completely different from what I imagined nursing care work to be. I want to continue doing my best here.
Mr. Baba believes that improving the image of nursing care is an issue that goes beyond this facility.
The question is how to reach out to people working in nursing care and those wanting to enter the field. It's something that the entire industry has to think about.
Early September. Mr. Baba took part in a certain meeting. Gathered are about 10 people like him who oversee innovative nursing care facilities. The topic is how to improve the perception of the industry.
When I look at my employees, I believe that they're really doing wonderful work. I think we can make the biggest impact by getting rid of the concept that it's work.
Mr. Baba and the group first come up with an idea to make a photo album of young people in the field. The participants plan to continue holding regular discussions. Others are taking a different tack to change perceptions of the industry. At one seminar, about 150 people in the nursing care industry are gathered.
And here, in Spanish, I change my finger only a few centimeters and the meanings totally change. Okay, I took my pressure bag, come inside. Well, good.
This is a new nursing care technique developed in France called Humanitude. They say if it becomes more widespread, the burden on nursing care workers will be dramatically reduced.
Okay, I wash your leg.
Patients might even bite you when you don't know what you're doing. This method would make my work enjoyable.
The system is said to have actually reduced turnover of nursing care staff at a hospital in France by 40%. Dr. Miwako Honda, who has been promoting Humanitude in Japan, believes greater adoption will drastically change how people see the nursing care industry.
There will be increasing demand for nursing care workers with solid practical skills. We also want to create an environment in which they can continue working.
Let's enjoy Japan.
Wonderful.
I knew you'd like this.
You know me so well. Where to next?
Golf.
Wonderful.
Japanese garden.
That's wonderful too.
Onsen with a Fujisan view.
Wonderful.
Let's go then.
いらっしゃいませ.
Wonderful.
Incredible.
Smiles ahead. Seibu Group.
Tomorrow never ends with you. With you. When the morning falls, we there so long.
For life's greatest moments. Bridgestone.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next we'll bring a segment called Takumi from Science View, which is produced by NHK that introduces the latest developments in science and technology in Japan.
Now, takumi literally means artisan in Japanese, and it's a word often used to describe a person with exceptional skill in a certain craft, a master technician.
Yes, so what kind of artisan will we be meeting today?
Yes, today we'll be introducing a craftsman of traffic signals.
Well, traffic signals. I can't think of any connection between traffic signals and craftsmanship.
That's what I thought too, but there actually is. Because when you look at a traffic signal on a sunny day, it can look like it's on, even if it really isn't. And this is referred to in Japan as pseudo-lighting. And our craftsman today invented a technology that can prevent this phenomenon.
Well, I've experienced that myself. Like, if you can't really tell the signal is telling you to go or stops, it's very dangerous.
It can be, can't it? And this same craftsman has also developed other technologies, including one that can reduce electricity consumption. So take a look.
I have a question for all of you. Have you ever experienced any difficulties in figuring out the color of the traffic light when a strong afternoon sun is hitting it directly? Our Takumi today has come up with an innovative solution.
Hello, I'm Michelle Yamamoto.
Hello.
Today's Takumi is Masahiro Korogi. 30% of all newly installed traffic lights in Japan are produced at this company of only 130 employees. The company's flagship product is an innovative new sun phantom-proof traffic signal. Korogi showed me the difference between his traffic signal and a conventional one. First, he simulates light from a setting sun hitting a conventional signal. As you can see, it's hard to tell which light is activated. This phenomenon is called the sun phantom effect. Next, Korogi showed me his signal. The same light is shown on his signal and... Whoa! The difference is clear. Only the green signal appears illuminated. This is amazing! With this, you can instantly tell the color of the signal. In the past, there was no effective way of preventing this sun phantom effect. How did our Takumi overcome this challenge? Let's find out. On a conventional signal, the sun's rays hit the lamp at an angle and bounce back down at the street, making it seem like the bulb is lit. Korogi needed a way to block the sun's rays that wouldn't also block the light coming from the bulb itself. The solution was a double-layered lens. The exterior lens is fitted with a shield that absorbs light. Light that enters from high angles is focused by the lens onto the shield where it is absorbed. But light emitted from inside the bulb is focused by the interior lens. It doesn't hit the shield. As you can see, tilt the lens and it turns mostly black. These black spots appear at angles where light is being absorbed. But tilt the lens back and the black spots disappear. Light is passing through unimpeded. Here is Korogi's latest sun phantom-proof traffic signal. It uses LED lights. To decrease energy consumption, it uses only half as many LED lights as a conventional signal. But thanks to the anti-sun phantom technology, it's still easy to see. Developing these sun phantom-proof signals was no easy task. The rising sun produces an effect similar to the setting sun. Korogi needed to block out the sun's rays, but still allow light from the bulb to shine unimpeded. The Takumi tried out countless lenses and shields.
The solution finally came to him by chance.
At that moment, something just clicked.
By slightly shifting the position of the shield, light passing through the lens was blocked only at certain angles. At last, Korogi had seen the light. With the development of this sun phantom-proof traffic signal, Korogi's company was able to compete directly with larger companies.
Even when things seem impossible, I know that as long as I keep on moving and coming up with ideas, I'll find a way. Light has always played an important role in human history. For example, after the Great Hanshin earthquake in 1995, I heard that some people were actually comforted when they saw traffic lights still working amid all the damage. I want to make a traffic light that will work no matter what happens, that will act as a kind of ray of hope.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so make sure to tune in next week.